Okay, so I believe it is recording right now. What you are seeing is the test setup. Right now, the application, which is this small window, is listening from the covered side of Twitch channel, which is my channel, and it is actively reading the chat messages. To do that, it doesn't need any token or any password. But I hard coded it. I am yet to know how to do it so that the user can set it up. But I can hard code it in the system. This is a Unity window. This is a test version of the application. It has not been exported as an executable. What you're seeing to the right is the chat for this Twitch channel covered psyop, and I'll be writing to this chat from two other users, which are also my accounts. But I am not writing on this particular chat because I need the recorders to not switch focus of the window. So I have other two windows with the other shutters. So if I type a message, a title will be created in the application and it will run a short entry animation. The title is just a brown circle. The commands for this application always have to start with exclamation mark pit, pit as in gladiator pit, and are either fight to start a fight with another shatter, but you can also just type and you will show up on the screen. So for example, I type hi from my Antler layer account and a title shows up and says hi. And after a short amount of time, it just shows the shatter's name and then it disappears as to not clutter the interface too much. If you write another message, so another message, it prints the message and a little bit later the username. The two bars at the very top, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but I assume you can. If you can't, then the red bar that fills up slowly and the red bar below it that fills up quickly. So the one above is the one that measures, that cuts off the last command you sent for the purpose of arena combat, which I will show you in a little bit. And the one below that triggers after the turn cutoff is over plays the well, is supposed to demonstrate that during that time frame the animation will play out. So for example, if you chose to attack during that time frame of the second bar, an attack animation will play out and then a reaction animation if it's the case. But animations have not yet been programmed and reactions have not been programmed either. The only reaction that I think is worthwhile is parry, but like logic for complex scenarios has not yet been implemented. But it is trivial to do so now that the base has really been implemented. So now to the meat of the issue. If another chatter writes another message, he will be superposed to the current title. There is no idle animation that they will walk across the green grass after falling from the tree. You have to do a creative effort to believe that the vertical brown rectangle is a tree. Maybe Tatopeya, I think, Tomatopeya, something like that, the title goat. And then the green grass is just green grass. So I'll write from my cover side account. Um, mm, and it will show the message and superpose it with the previous title, but both titles exist at this moment. How do we start combat? I send exclamation mark pit and then fight and then add the username I want to fight. And I can add another word. So for example, if the chatters want to add any flavor, then they can keep typing and the command will identify until just the first three words. There is no feedback until the invitation to fight is accepted, and it can be accepted in the next turn, so to speak, in the next turn of cutoff, or in any turn cutoff. So for example, we go and accept after the bar has filled up twice. So this is another turn, so you don't have to accept right away. You send to accept, there is no accept command, but you have to write the same. So pit fight the other shatter. Now you are both in the arena. Now that you are inside the arena, shatters can choose any action, either attack, defend, or heal themselves. And if they don't choose any action, they will supposedly enter an idle animation. And what you are seeing now, that 0, then 3, is mostly for debugging. This was supposed to show me whether or not the tyros were actually updating their health points. I did some messing around, and it seems that 3 health points are enough with the current system for the combat to be quite long. I started at 10 health points. So now the turner starts. You are expected not to write commands while the second animation is playing. But the system will still work, except that the dice animation, uh, dice in between quotation marks, will be cut, I think. So let's start with pit attack, and the system automatically detects which arena, which room are you a part of, and my other guy will play defend. And it shows uh, either of their actions and their roles, attack 7 and shield, I think it was 13 or something. Given that the shield was higher than the attack, and this is not like 11 is higher than 10, this is split into tiers with just a division. So from 0 to 5 is a fail, from 5 to 11 is like a first tier success. So you have to compare, for example, if you shield with 1 effectiveness and you are attacked with 1 effectiveness, there is no damage. But if you shield with 1 effectiveness and you are attacked with 3 effectiveness, which is dice rolls of 17, 19, 19, and 20, then you will suffer damage through the shield. So I will now just perform attacks on both of them until one of them dies. When an action starts playing, you can see that rotating square is supposed to represent the dice animation, and then it shows the roll. So this time bot attacked, so bot suffered the other's damage. So the suffer damage based in the other Tairo roll. So in this case, they had 3 health. Now both of them got rolls of 14 and 16, which are equivalent to 2 effectiveness. So they lose 2 health points each. Now I will try hitting them both, and it will depend on luck. This is a random generator. Who of them hears the most? But it seems I wasn't quick enough to heal them both, so only one of them healed, and I also made a typo. So you can see that even while they are in the arena, they can also engage in conversation. So the text field above the title can still uh, have information for some banter. So, for example, weak shield. I can say that and then attack them, and the Tyro will say that, and the other guy will also attack, so we can speed up the results. Now this time, Covert will die, and it's supposed to play the death animation. Then they are sent back to the waiting room, and then the arena is destroyed. I have not yet figured out a way to create fake chatters so that I can try it out with more users. But the logic is in place so that for any number of users, it will keep creating more arenas. And let's see if it can showcase. Yeah, yeah. This frame, this white frame, is in a static location in the game world. And what you are seeing is that when I press W in the keyboard, the camera goes up, and when you press S, the camera goes down. This is because as more arenas, more fighting rooms are created and destroyed, they will be added below to the right, and then keep going down as there are more rooms. And you, the streamer or whoever is running the app, can go down to see how the other fights are playing out. As arenas are destroyed, the positions will be updated so that the there are no empty spaces. And I'm working on, well, not really actively working on, but I have the plan that when someone has won a set amount of matches, they will be above the camera. So when you go up with the camera, the user interface will follow you down, and you will be able to see, say, a small throne room with the title that won. Of course, that will require some title customization, or for the time being, which is not being now, but when I get to do that, will be that I can make it so that title always displays its name, so the name doesn't go away like the titles in the waiting room, as I will exemplify yet again so that you can follow along as I talk. So now I write a message in chat, the corresponding title says the message, and then says the shatter's name that says that message, and then the name disappears. Not too dissimilar of stream avatars, but just that you can actively combat. That's the selling point. Except I'm not selling anything, this is completely free. I just use the expression. It, of course, lacks a multitude of animations. For example, an idle animation for the waiting room, I believe, to be super necessary because otherwise you can't tell how many titles are there. Well, you could add a counter, I guess, which should be relatively easy, but much, but very boring compared with titles walking left and right. I'll do a little bit of debugging that I have not done about if titles can re-engage in combat, which they should be able to. But when you try to show something off, it usually fails. So let's see if that's the case. And it seems that it did fail to re-engage in combat. So I'll have to do some heavier debugging. Okay, so it's something about the deleting the arenas after combat. But this is like the proof of concept, you know? This is a window. I assume you can later add to OBS like any other window after it is made an executable. Right now, this window is part of the Unity editor, which is not this editor. Well, this is the window that is holding it so it has the elements and the errors. And I'll be happy to hear from you any comments if you want this to be part of the Catchy universe. If maybe if only for like Tyro combat days, yeah, I'll be happy to hear any comments on it.